Defeat of the West and the Collapse of Protestantism. Emmanuel Todd, a French historian, anthropologist, sociologist, and political analyst of Jewish descent, prolific in his output, belongs to a rare category of thinkers who rely on facts and data. He is one of the few remaining intellectuals of the old French school. Todd is known for his keen strategic sense, having predicted the collapse of the Soviet Union in his famous book The Final Fall, published in 1976 when he was only 25 years old. He based this on his theory of family structures and statistics on infant mortality rates in the Soviet Union. Nearly a quarter of a century later, Todd, accused of being anti-American, published a book titled After the Empire 2001, in which he presented his arguments about America's decline as a dominant global power despite claims of its great victory with the collapse of the Soviet Union. The defeat of the West. The importance of Todd's propositions lies in his use of cultural factors to observe geopolitical data instead of the dominant power conflict model in strategic study. In January 2024, Todd's new book The Defeat of the West was released, immediately sparking widespread and multifaceted controversy. It is a summary of Todd's reading of the new international system in light of the ongoing Ukraine war for the past 2 years. Todd focuses on the main reasons for the West's fall, including the end of the nation-state in the West, decline in manufacturing, explaining NATO's inability to produce necessary weapons for Ukraine, the collapse and bankruptcy of the Western religious matrix, i.e., Protestantism, reaching 0 point, and a sharp increase in death rates in the United States, far exceeding those in Russia, worsening rates of suicide and murder, and the dominance of imperial nihilism manifested in chronic obsession with eternal wars. Protestant ethics and the spirit of capitalism. If Karl Marx was the first philosopher of socialism, then the German sociologist, law professor, and thinker Max Weber was the philosopher of capitalism and its undisputed architect. Weber observed the phenomenon of capitalism and its development in the Protestant world, especially in the United States, finding a close connection between Protestant ethical system and the spirit of capitalism and its emergence and evolution. Protestantism adopted ethics of discipline, work commitment, reduced consumption, savings, and delayed gratification, or urban asceticism, according to Weber, to form capital and reinvest production returns and expand it. This, in turn, had a close connection with the spirit of early capitalism, especially in the major European settler societies. These societies migrated and settled colonies due to religious persecution and famines that struck Europe during the age of geographical discoveries and mercantile commercial stage. However, the chronic crisis of capitalism, especially the current American neoliberalism, which has been globalized, is not based on consumption discipline, but on maximizing consumption and excessive lending to individuals, companies, and governments. Consumption now exceeds income, leading consumers to spend more than they earn, reducing savings, and drowning in debts far surpassing the gross domestic product. Thus, Protestantism and its ethics and historical working mechanisms that led to the rise of the Anglo-American world have evaporated. Collapse of Protestantism. Todd attributes Western decline to the evaporation of Protestant values, highlighting the work ethics and social discipline rooted in this Christian branch, which he considered a fundamental element in the rise of the Anglo-American world. He argued that the evaporation of Protestantism in America, Britain, and the Protestant world may have caused the disappearance of what constitutes the strength and uniqueness of the West, and that the central variable is religious dynamics. The gradual internal collapse of the Anglo-Saxon Protestant white culture since the 1960s has led to an empire deprived of center, project, and meaning. An essentially military entity run by a culturalist group in the anthropological sense, thus defining the new conservatives in America. Here we arrive at the core of Todd's argument, his reinterpretation of Max Weber's Protestant ethics and their relationship to the spirit of capitalism. Weber's book The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism, published over a century ago 1904-1905, came at a time when Protestantism was the matrix of the Protestant West's rise, so the death of Protestantism today is the cause of disintegration and defeat. Pillars of the West. Todd clearly defines how the English Glorious Revolution of 1688, the American Declaration of Independence in 1776, and the French Revolution of 1789 were the true pillars of the liberal West. Therefore, the expanded West is not historically liberal because it also engineered Italian fascism, German Nazism, and Japanese military aggression. Todd highlights how Protestantism imposed comprehensive literacy on the populations it controlled, stating that because all believers must have direct access to the Bible, educated populations are capable of economic and technological development. Protestantism coincidentally shaped a superior and efficient workforce. In this sense, Germany was at the heart of Western development, even though the Industrial Revolution occurred in England. Todd found similarities between the cultural history of countries and the history of Protestant Westerners, stating that the commonality between Protestantism and communism is the obsession with education, adding that communism, founded in Eastern Europe, developed new middle classes, where the decisive factor in the rise of the West is Protestantism's connection to literacy. according to Todd. Moreover, Todd asserts that Protestantism is twice at the heart of Western history, through educational and economic impetus, alongside the fear of divine curse, the pursuit of salvation, and the need for divine chosenness, fostering disciplined work ethics and strong collective morality, as well as the idea that humans are unequal, the burden of the white man. The collapse of Protestantism only led to the destruction of work ethics in favor of collective greed, i.e., neoliberalism, the new